Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with me today as we explain to you about a horribly tragic event that occurred this morning in this community. Let me introduce you to a suspect. His name is Sean Runyon. Sean is 39 years of age. And here's how it all started. A Pennsylvania electric company was here in this county because they were doing work for Publix Corporation, Publix supermarkets. Friday morning at about 2 a.m., Sean Runyon got mad as a result of a problem with his supervisor, and he punched his supervisor and fled from the workplace. He left and he had not been seen since then. Sean and other team members on this electrical job were living in this community close by. Now, here's what occurred. At 9:44 this morning, we received a 911 call about a murder. He's murdered someone. And what we found out was Sean returned to the neighborhood, went into the house with a baseball bat and a knife, and he stabbed and beat people inside the residence. There were 7 people living in the residence. There were 7 victims. One victim was beaten to death in his bed while he slept. Another victim was beaten significantly. He is not deceased. I underscored this one's not deceased, but he is in extremely critical condition at a local hospital and not expected to survive from his horrible wounds. A third victim is deceased on the front porch of the residence. There were 4 others, as I said, beside the 2 that's currently deceased and the one that's going to die as a result of this horrific act. He chases a 4th victim into the street and struck him in the shoulder and the back area with this baseball bat that he had beaten the others with. Another man and his wife and his 7-year-old little girl were able to escape the residence without harm. Then Sean fled from the scene. We had a manhunt, an intensive manhunt with dozens and dozens of deputies, our canine, our aviation, our drone teams, because we saw where he fled from the area through a blood trail. And then the trail went dead and we couldn't find him. About an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours later, he shows up at a house in Lake Wells, Florida, with blood on himself and tells the people, "I've been raped." And he takes off this bloody clothes and leaves it at their residence, and they're telling him, "Well, you need to go to the hospital." That was at 11:37. Our deputies, assisted by the police department, rushed to Lake Wells Hospital and took him in custody at the hospital. He is not injured as of the information that we have now. He has confessed to our detectives. The investigation's underway. He knew all of these victims. We have no idea what outraged him so bad that more than 24 hours later that he would come back and make an attempt to kill every one of them. And in fact, 2 of them are deceased. The third one is not going to survive because of the horrible nature of his injuries, and the investigation goes on. The information we present to you, like always, is to make sure that you understand clearly that this information is subject to change as the investigation moves forward, And we present this information so that you can relay it to the community to calm the neighborhood and the community down that saw all of the activity here, to know that it's safe. The murderer, the horrible murderer, is in custody and the community is once again safe. Are there any questions?
Can you spell his first and last name for us, please?
S-H-U-N-R-U-N-Y-O-N.
Sheriff, were all the people in this house, were these his co-workers?
These, at this point, my understanding is these were his co-workers and or the co-workers' family.
And they were all living and staying in this one home?
They were all staying in this. This is a multi-bedroom home, and the electric company was renting it to house them while they were working at Publix Corporation over at Lakeland.
And one of the people, was it the supervisor that was living here? You said he punched?
The supervisor was living here. The supervisor is one of the people involved.
Where are the 4 others? You said there were 7 in total.
They're still here.
No danger to the public or anything? Right?
No danger to the public, and that's why it's important to communicate with you quickly, especially when you see the police presence, the law enforcement, the sheriff's deputies that were here. This panics the community, as we understand, and it's very important for them to be able to calm down and know that the emergency is over. My deputies have arrested the person that's responsible for this multiple murder.
Sheriff, any idea what he was so upset about?
Absolutely not at this point in the investigation. Obviously, we'll sort that out as the investigation goes on. It's pretty straightforward. There was never a question about who the suspect was. The question we had to deal with was, where did he flee to? It was the understanding of the boss in Pennsylvania that he was going back to Pennsylvania yesterday. So the boss was surprised to find out that he was not only here, but he was here murdering his co-workers this morning.
So is he a resident of Pennsylvania?
We don't know where he's a resident of. The company, the electrical company that had the contract to work with Publix, was out of Pennsylvania. So the boss, as I understand, is in Pennsylvania. Detectives have been in contact with him, and he's been totally cooperative.
Do we have any idea why he fled to Lake Wales? Is that just random? Or?
Have absolutely no idea why he ended up in Lake Wales. He showed up at a random house on a quiet street in Lake Wales, bloody, telling the people he was raped. Took those clothes off, threw them down. They told him, well, you need to go to the hospital. And that's what he did. And that's where we found him. And we appreciate the Lake Wales people calling us just as soon as this occurred to report it to us. They helped us get this guy in custody sooner rather than later. Obviously, our big concern immediately was we had this murderer who was on a rampage at large. So where did he show up next? That was our concern. And we knew once he had killed 2 and he thought he had killed the 3rd, he had nothing else to lose. Who else was he going to kill before he was in custody? So that's why there was a full court press in seconds after we were notified to start locating him. And once again, the community helped us.
Are you able to give us the name of the company that he worked for?
I don't have that name right now. We can get that and get it back to you, okay?
Were any of the people, victims in the house, able to fight back towards him? I mean, there's so
we don't know. The investigation's underway. One of the deceased victims is on the front porch, and it's a horrific scene. The entire scene is horrific. The victim that was hit in the back and the shoulder with a baseball bat is all right, but our suspect, Runyon, chased him into the street to hit him out in the street.
Does he have any priors? Do you guys know?
Yes, he does have criminal history, and the last time he was arrested, it was a violent arrest dealing with strangulation in Pennsylvania. Okay? Thank you very much. Take care. Have a good day.